Pyramid would be stability, balance, strength, and power. And question, what we do is we start off with band work. Again, go back, stabilization. If you're not able to balance on that one leg and it's shaking, that means your foundation is unstable. You know, just being from the area and not really being known and really just grinding it out. I mean, with just several year players in this area.
Tobe is giving me this game or teaching me how to perform, but what value can I add to Tobe?
Yep.
Right, and I think that's...
She has to be there. And again, you might lose some because you're transparent, but at the end of the day, you might gain a whole lot because you're transparent. Basketball skill. But what LeBron has done is he's leveraged his success and say, you know what, I'm gonna make sure my son gets in here. And people don't understand, it might not even be about basketball.
Say like just get in the door, like he could be the next GM of the league.
Right. It's not all about just the playing of the sport. You know, it's behind the scenes. They get paid pretty good too.
Yeah.
And they have.
Welcome to Game Related, where we highlight opportunities and obstacles for former athletes with the thought process of giving future generations a better understanding about the game.
These conversations are meant to bring awareness to the opportunities and the hardships that come along with the game. Let's get game related.
All right, y'all, we back with another episode, man. I'm really excited about this one. I know we always say that, but this man to the right of me has been a pillar in the training community. I want to say, man, I was 21 when I met this man. I'm 38, so that's 17 years, man. So we got Tobe with ETC. Excited for him to be here. He's going to talk to us about how much the game has changed in the training world, and you know, some of the pros and cons and things that he has worked on with players, and you know how he has led them to success. So, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes,
Welcome.
sir.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So you think like somebody had this in order from the beginning?
Make the style go a certain way, but then how I just, you know, at the end of the day, people still got their own coaching styles, right?
All right, man. So the first question we always ask is about handling success.
Okay.
All right. You know, you be getting kids at a young level, and then once they get to this certain level, it's hard to maintain it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got people telling them how good they are. You got themselves and social media. You know, how do you navigate that and get them to handle success better?
The biggest thing I think is mostly the parents. You know, what we try and do sometimes is kind of vent through our kids, and it's kind of like a coach. Both of you gentlemen played, you know, collegiate sports. It's kind of like now what they say is that now as a coach, I'm going to recruit your parents. It's kind of the same way. So, you know, you kind of want to see exactly where the parents are, what their thought process is, and at that same time be an extension of them from the home to explain or understand what the kids need to do throughout their process. And the athletic thing is something that they do and they love to do, but at the same time figure out how we're going to, you know what I'm saying, get those good values and those principles and those characteristic things into those athletic, you know what I'm saying, principles, again, coming from their parents. So again, I recruit the parents just as much as I recruit the kid to kind of see exactly how this is going to go. And not necessarily saying that the kids are so much like the parents, but again, that's where some of those young kids are getting their values, their morals, their characteristics. That's what they're getting it from. So we most definitely tap into that.
Yeah, man. Speak a little bit more about your principles. You've always been very much on having good character.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, talk about some of those principles that you try to instill in the players.
Well, you know, in this day and age of social media, you know, again, you know, people want, you know, things right away. And, you know, I just tell individuals that that's not real life, you know. So at the end of the day, you want to continue to, you know, to support them, but you want to make sure that they understand that they're going to hit some downfalls and some pitfalls in life. And with those characteristics and those traits and those values, that's what you want to teach. You want to see exactly, like they say, how are you going to respond when you hit adversity? And at the end of the day, you would rather for those young men and young women to go through that adversity early than late. Because once they, you know, become to a point where if, you know, you always, you know, the one that's on a pedestal, or if you're the one that's always been catered to, what's going to happen once some of those things don't happen? Because we do know in the, you know, the field of sports, we know how these college coaches are. You know, they're going to butter you up and tell you everything you want to hear. But once you get on that campus, hey man, it's every man, every woman for themselves. So again, once that adversity hits, and then you don't have mom and dad or siblings around to kind of, make sure that mentally you're prepared, or mentally that you're focused and locked in. That's where those early stages of that mental toughness, and again, being on time, or your work ethic, those things really tap in, because again, this is something that you said you want to do. We're at the end of the day, we're here to kind of help you, to be better at, or strive to, to get to where you want to be. But again, you're going to hit that road of toughness, and so you got to make sure that you have a strong mental aspect of it.
Nah, great point, man. So let's talk about what got you inspired to work with guys.
To be honest, man, went to college, played basketball in high school. It was always a misconception. You play football? No, played basketball in high school. Did football a little bit, but basically basketball. Went to college, tried to do it there, and all of a sudden it was like a shift. It was like, you know what, let me just kind of see exactly what's on the other side of it, and I ended up getting with the strength coach at my alma mater, which is North Carolina Central University. And from there, from just, continue to be in the weight room through that process of not playing anymore, I just kind of took on the passion of just, seeing what, the physical aspect was of training, and also training athletes myself. And during those times, it's so funny, during those times, it was, if you was in college, you had to go to school for physical education. I was like, I'm most definitely not doing that, so I had to kind of carve out a way to kind of see exactly how I still want to be a part of sports. But at the same time, that mentor then kind of pushed me and kind of directed me to where I am now, to understand that I can still be involved, and this is how I can be involved through athletics.
That's cool, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that misconception of you in football and basketball. Yeah. What position did you play?
Shooting guard.
Shooting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Played at Needham Broughton High School with Pete Maravich, winning Raleigh. Did all the at that time it wasn't, now I know it's the John Wall Classic, but at that time I forgot, I think it was the Cap Hoops Classic, but played against some I know young people went over Greg Ellis.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Randy Livingston, Penny Hardaway. That's telling my age, but we got to see all these guys, Sean Bradley. So it was an exciting time in high school. But again, I didn't take it serious. And then once I got to college, I understood that that's that work ethic really popped in, and then like I said, from there, kind of went into the industry.
All right, cool. You know what's cool? You still got your North Carolina accent.
Oh yeah, it's not going anywhere. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be authentic. And that's what I try and do, is transparency, man. I've been here 20 plus years, and it's still gonna come out.
Yeah. So man, talk about ETC, man. Talk about the mission of ETC, and what does that mean to you, and how that got started.
ETC got started when I moved to this area in 2003. I was actually working at the U.S. Census Bureau. I was in their fitness department. And again, it was more corporate. I came back again from an athletic, lifestyle or basis, or from where I've come from as far as when it comes to strength and conditioning. And that was a little different. But again, it was, a job. I was able to move to this area. This area was very intriguing to me, because I'd never seen so many people that looked like me that were very successful, so that was intriguing also. So did that for a while, and I was like, man, I love, putting programs together for just general, training. But again, my step was from stop playing basketball in college was to continue to, pursue athletes. And then from there, man, I just kind of, I got with an individual by the name of D High, and I got with him from a situation where I had a friend that he used to have All-Star weekends, and I used to train. And I used to be like, man, I want to do ABC. And he was like, listen, man, you need to, put your stuff, on pen and paper, get an LLC and start it and kind of just grind it out. And that day he said that, I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I ended up doing. But before that was working with a guy named Stephen Vaughn, that currently owns Athletic, I think it's Athletic Performance out in Crofton.
Okay.
Got more of the corporate side of that, understanding that. So again, throughout my journey with getting ETC or establishing ETC, it was a lot of training, but it was a lot of also understanding how the business worked. Because as trainers, you just kind of know how to train, but you don't understand the business side of it. Putting packages together, understanding, the value of $1, understanding how much things are going to be, understanding, your programs and all those things when it comes to business structure. So I learned a lot from there, and then, like I said, from there we just continued to grind and end up going to World's Gym back in Largo. And from there, again, just kept my head down, as they say, chopping wood and carrying water. And then from there, people started saying, "Hey, I see what you're doing with these young people. Can I get my son? Or can I get my daughter?" And it just started blossoming from there.
Nice. Real quick, let's get into it. As far as you training different sectors, right? Basketball, track, football. Like, is your approach different with each one, or is it you keep it the same? Talk about that a little bit.
The approach is different because what I do is I look at movements. Mm-hmm. So again, you want to look at, each athlete specifically, and when I say even movements, talking about now the positions. Okay. So again, you would train a linebacker. If you're talking about football, I would train a linebacker a little bit different than I would a cornerback. Also with basketball, and also too, body types. That's a thing too. That's why you can't really keep everything so generic and cookie cutter. Give example, DJ Turner, who's with the Raiders now. In high school, he was always a stocky kid. Mm-hmm. And we trained him a little differently because, again, he could put on weight real easy. At the same time, you don't want that to mess with his mobility, getting in and out of breaks. And you also, too, don't want him to be to a situation where he's not able to move with that weight. Yeah. So, again, it's a lot of things, and it's not so much all players in all ages and ranges need, mobility, but not only the mobility side, they need the speed. So when it comes to either sport, as far as what we do, we always start with the basics, which is the foundation of his legs anyway. Mm-hmm. So you want to start with that. But, again, it's not what you would say a cookie cutter situation, but again, a specific situation to that player, that particular sport, and whatever movements that they need to do to perform at a high level.
Okay. So what you would say would be like, I guess, like your training philosophy, and then kind of elaborate on areas of like injury prevention and strength building and explosiveness, and like, and if something like that, like how would you rate like the importance of those areas?
Good question. The importance, I would say, from the pyramid would be stability, balance, strength, and power. And I don't care how strong you are, if you can't balance or stabilize, you're at a disadvantage. So even at a young age, when I said the foundation is legs, we teach a lot of balance, one leg balance. If you look at a wide receiver is usually in a staggered stance. Mm-hmm. He's not pushing out both legs, he's pushing out one leg dominantly to get out in and out of the breaks. The same thing with lateral movement. And again, those things, as far as when it comes to that pyramid, are very important. But like I said, that stability and balance are two mostly things that that we're going to teach at a foundational process, and then we'll build up to the strength and then also to the power.
Okay. It was weird. Like we was in college, right? And we used to hit we used to weight room all day, right? And then I seen this guy was way smaller than me, was hitting a pull-up bar, killing it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm bench pressing 3 something.
Right.
I couldn't do one pull-up.
And that's endurance.
And I'm sitting there like, no, I couldn't do one pull-up. And when I couldn't do no pull-ups, I'm like, man, hold on.
What I'm doing wrong?
Yeah, like that's something ain't right.
Right, when you was just too big.
Man, listen, I couldn't do one pull-up, and then so after that, I stopped doing weights altogether, and then everything was just straight calisthenics.
Think about this. Who do you consider the best athlete on the planet? The best athletes on the planet?
I'm gonna say wrestlers or gymnastic people.
Okay.
Or like the track people,
Yeah. And that's a fact. Just think about it. Look how much running they're doing. So to kind of correlate with what you're saying, that's another part of it, which is muscle endurance. Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that. So if it's a significant difference between what you would say a football, basketball player would be that. Mm. All right. Football players have time to kind of debrief, get a breather. Basketball, you constantly up and down. So again, for a football player, I will make sure that player is not only strong, stable, also powerful, but again, make sure that the endurance is there. Because again, you want to, like a DN. Every scout, every coach want to have a DN with a motor. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're implementing all those things into your program. And again, and that's just through a basis of your athlete when he or she comes in to kind of see where they are.
That's crazy you said that. I watched the Olympics a lot, and Gabby Thomas. Oh yeah. She was talking about the difference between the 100 and the 200, and then like sometimes they'll do miles, but she was like I am not built for the long distance of a mile.
Right.
And that's probably what you're talking about. With
Yeah,
that
anaerobic.
endurance.
Yeah. I mean, the soccer players, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's why I said when it comes to a program, you have to really see specifically what that athlete, needs to be successful, and that's kind of that breakdown process.
So sticking with the process, right? What would be like the like a recovery process of somebody who tore ACL or had a concussion, and like how do you monitor that, but then kind of adjust it so like they not doing too much, but at the same time they still progressing within that program?
Well, what we do is we make sure that we are in communication with the physical therapists, the doctors, because again, at the end of the day, it's a unit. So you want to make sure that everybody's on one accord. Usually with those injuries, it's always quad. It's also to knee situations. Also to lateral movement. So again, to answer your question, what we do is we start off with band work. Again, go back to stabilization. If you're not able to balance on that one leg and it's shaking, that means your foundation is unstable. So you want to make sure that you build up to stabilize that knee, all right, to stabilize that quad, those hamstrings, build from that foundation to go up into doing anything from when it comes to quad movements, anything when it comes to hamstring movements, and also too, and kind of move yourself gradually into more type of lateral movements and those type of things. But again, it always goes back to that basis. What we asked earlier was the stability and the balance part of that situation when it comes to just rehabbing.
I got a question on the quads, right?
Okay.
So like I messed up my knee and I've been just fixing it up. When you do squats, right? Like, is there a way that you do squats that more so fixes your hamstring? I mean, like not fixes, but emphasizes more on your hamstring than your quads. And like, is there like a certain way that when you come down, how some people be like this, some people be like that. Like, does that matter?
Yes. Every movement matters. Sometimes when you're more torso over, put a lot of pressure on your lower back. And it's all misconceptions when it comes to squat range. Some people say all the way down. Some people say 90 degrees. Again, it's just, also to go back is what your mobility of your hips are like. All right. So, but again, through that mobility, again, you want to, do more dynamic type of stretching or dynamic lifts. Again, so for example, if an athlete comes in and we can see that their hips aren't getting down low enough, we're going to do other alternative stuff to make sure that we build that, that range of motion, with those ligaments and also in those hips to make sure we are able to get down. We're not going to load a lot of weight immediately. We're going to gradually do that. So all that stuff, it plays a big part, with your position, far as when I say position, meaning that your I guess your technique, and all that, when it comes to certain exercises.
Okay. And definitely, I guess today, like mental health and everything is like kind of been like a big component everybody's focusing on right now. So like, what role does like mental conditioning play, and how do you get like your clients and your guys like establish that mental toughness in them?
The mental side of it, again, it kind of goes back in the beginning when I talked about with the home, the family, and that is very big in today's athletic world. And what we try and do, man, is kind of just again talk to those parents and understand what that kid needs. Also, to hold that kid accountable. Hold them accountable. A lot of athletes now are kind of held at a high standard, meaning not so much on the playing field. Well, are you doing your chores at home? Are you doing your homework? Are you doing the right things outside of the playing field? And I think that with the mental health, I think that plays a part because again, you have to show somebody that, you are still in your time and you got to instill, that energy around them to let them feel like, hey, listen, you can be the best person, you want. And saying everyone has different calibers or different situations where they're going to hit, but let's get the best version of you. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we want to do is get the best version of you, not looking to your left, not looking to your right, but let's focus in and lock in what you can do and what you can do best. Let's try and find those attributes and then let's move forward from there, But I think that if you look at it in that approach with a lot of the kids now, because a lot of these kids are hitting a lot of different, like I said, things with adversity. But again, if you can help them through those times and continue to just help build them again with the characteristics, with the values and the core principles, then again, that hopefully when they get to those situations with mental health, they can handle those situations a lot better.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, and I definitely feel you on like kind of knowing what's going on at home and really understanding, because if they with you and they just kind of hit a wall or anything just kind of irrational, sporadic happens, I know what's going on.
Right.
I could pull you to the side and have a conversation to kind of redirect you to get you where I need you to be.
Right.
But not doing that, you're just going to be kind of thrown off like, I don't know what's going on.
And I always tell people, I mean, not only, training is training, but it's a mental health therapist, it's a psychologist. I'm saying, and that's just part of our job. That's just a hat that we have to put on when we're dealing with young people. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is build these young people into great citizens and great parents and great, sisters, great brothers, great kids. And that's the thing that you got to make sure that you are able to wear all those hats, but also to tap into all those things at the same time with those young men and young women.
Yeah, that mental health is a tough one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So man, let's talk about potential versus production.
Okay.
Right? Now obviously you don't really get to see it till they're on the field,
right,
or on the court. But when they're in the gym, can you tell the difference between a kid that is like talented, but you like talk about what that looks like versus the kid that is a dog and like he's going to perform on the court. Like talk about those differences.
The difference when it comes to just knowing talented kids, their structure is a little bit more organized, meaning in the gym on time, meaning prepared, meaning, that whatever you put in front of them, if they can't do it, they're going to ask you questions and they're going to correct what they did wrong. And those are some of the characteristics, and we talked about that. Potential is a great thing, and you see a lot of kids have potential, but again, that structure of just pinpointing where I can be organized might come a little later for some of those kids that might have talent, but not saying they can't get it. But again, most of the ones that actually put out that production, those are kids that already have routines, already making sure that they're mindful of what they're doing, what they're putting in their body. It's kind of like, they're already ahead of the curve. But again, the potential, not saying that you can't get there, but again, it might be a lack of something that's going on that kid needs, that you have to make sure that you see and you target it and then say, hey, look, maybe we need to work on these things to get you there.
So you're saying more so the kids that produce the most are probably more organized and intentional about what they're doing. They kind of coming in there.
I tell my son this: I can tell how you play when I go in your room. Because if your room is junky, your brain is unorganized. So small things like that, keeping a good task. Because again, what's going to happen is once they learn how to do that, they're going to learn to understand what they need to do. As a pro, that's what a pro does. A pro has everything, not saying that they're pros or they could be pros or anything like that. But again, it doesn't matter, because again, everything through athletics is going to teach you discipline for life.
Yeah.
So again, work on time. People, if you is coming to school late every day, your job, they're not going to let you continue to come to work every day late. You're going to get fired. So again, those kids who have and understand those principles and understand that organization, those are kids that come in already mentally prepared. And again, not saying the potential can't get there, but again, you have to seek out and see exactly what those kids or those athletes need to make sure they can get on that same page.
I love what you said, because I believe that how you are in one thing is how you are in another. You know what I mean? And it transfers, what I mean? It definitely transfers over. So if you're lazy in one thing, probably gonna be lazy in the next task that you're doing. So I feel that. Talk about like some of your most rewarding times as a trainer, right? And then I want you to also go over like a time where there was a kid who exceeded your expectation.
Okay. My most rewarding time, I have several of them. Some of the accomplishments that I can think about, just being from the area and not really being known and really just grinding it out. With just several Get Ready to Player year players in this area, championships on basketball side, championships on the NFL side, championships on the NBA side. Those are great accomplishments and those are great things. But I can say overall, probably training my kids, training my own kids, because it becomes a certain time where you put so much time into other people's children and their time. And, I've always didn't want to be that person to say, you know what, I didn't take time for mine. At the end of the day. So I would say that's probably the most rewarding. And, sometimes it's a tuggle, what I'm saying? But at the same time, again, trying to wear those many hats as being not only your strength coach, but being your coach off, on the court. And, did you take that trash out, at the house? So again, it's a catch-22, but at the same time, it's a blessing. And I would say that that's probably the most rewarding time is training my son and my daughter.
That's cool, man. Do they know the difference between when you go from dad to coach, or do they have a tough time with that?
No, sometimes they just don't want me saying nothing, period, man. I mean, like I say, man, you could be Michael Jordan, they thinking like you a bum, you know what I'm saying? So, again, that's the blessing, and also too, that's what keep me short to continue to keep pushing, because again, those are gonna be the hardest two that I probably ever train, because kids that understand what I bring to the table and what I do, they're more, okay, focused. My kids like, man, that's dad, you know what I'm saying? So again, I mean, that's gonna be my challenge, and again, it's a blessing every day to be able to point to them too.
Nice, man. So I want to talk about something that I see a lot in the training world, and you can speak on it how deep you want to, but you train kids from the ground up, right? I see it in basketball all the time, but once they get to a certain level, right now, there's so much stuff on social media where you'll have these performance centers or whatever, right? And then they end up grabbing a kid after they've already been developed, right? They put them on the site, and this is my guy. You know what I mean? Like, just how does that make you feel as a trainer? And then what do you think we can do in this area to kind of help with those type of situations?
You want my candid answer?
Hey.
What I would say is early in training stages, it bothered me. It bothered me because again, you're putting so much time, so much energy into someone else, child, and then you look at it and say, oh man, really, you get the thrill of it, and don't get me wrong. And this is, again, I went to school for this, so at the same time, it's for me, it wasn't, I have a full-time gig and let me go ahead and train some of these kids, for a couple hours. This was something that, again, that was sought out, through college. So, you get disappointed, but at the same time, I can say through maturing and through my faith, sometimes you got to look at it and say, man, at the end of the day, this is where I need to be at this certain time to help this certain kid out, and then just take it from there. And it sounds cliche, but I think if you didn't have that mindset, because I've seen and I've been through so many different scenarios when it comes to that, that, if I didn't have that, oh man, what I'm saying? Telling what could be said, what could be done, because again, I mean, one thing you can't get back in this life is you can't get back time.
Nope.
You can't get it back, and for, people to discredit that, and again, for whoever trainers are out there, it could be a slap in the face, but at the same time, through my faith and through my prayer, at the end of the day, like they say, I don't depend on no man, no woman, and most definitely no child. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, what's going to be for me is going to be for me, and what's going to happen is going to happen. So, but at the end of the day, being a part of those processes, that's one thing, people can't take away. Yeah. You can't take that away, being through that process.
What do you think can happen structurally do you think that's just something that's just inevitable, or do you think there's things that you can do beforehand to kind of make sure that kids or parents understand that, like, everything's here, you ain't got to go nowhere else?
Right. Well, my philosophy on that, I think that if individuals understand that, and especially they better understand now with NIL, everything's a business. Yeah. So now, with it being a business, now you have to understand who is in your corner, who is in your circle. Now, and I always make this analogy about Rich Paul. He wasn't an agent before LeBron came in and set him up with the right individuals. LeBron met him at someone selling jerseys. But what LeBron did was LeBron put him around those individuals that could get him to where he needed to be. And then from there, through that networking, put him in position. And not only just put him in position, he made sure he was qualified and made sure that he was able to do his job. And I get, when you go to certain big facilities and kids sometimes say, oh, well, it's they have this and they have that. That's understandable. But again, me being in this industry for over 20 years, agents will let your trainer go out to Florida. You just gotta ask. Just like you open your mouth about cutting his training fee, you can open your mouth about asking him, can my trainer come and get to understand what you guys are doing here, and you know what I'm saying? And that's where I think again that what is missing now through coaches. I don't know, and I always say this: I don't know if we have built great athletes, but not built great athletes with values and character.
Yeah.
Because again, Florida guys do it. They stick together and everybody's down there training. Hey, Joe, my trainer down here, man, come down. They do it all the time. So with individuality, I get it, but at the same time, I mean, it takes a village to raise one. And at the end of the day, you regardless of I got it out the mud attitude. No, you didn't.
Right.
No, you didn't. You were helped along the way, and a lot of people had to sacrifice along the way. And speaking of that, I trained Dennis Schroeder, and I remember him saying from Germany.
Yeah.
And one thing that stuck with me, man, was that he used to tell me, when I went out there and trained for a stint, actually when he went to the Lakers, he was saying, I was just watching him, and I was like, man, you do a lot for your sister, your brother, and all that. He said, listen, man, they made a lot of sacrifices for me to go to camps. They made a lot of sacrifices for me to do this or get shoes and do that. And that's what I'm saying. Like that mindset for individuals to have that type of mindset is a blessing, because again, I mean, you don't go through this life alone. Nope. You don't go through it alone. So I think to answer your question, I think that if we can start trying to chime into some of that, and and I know it's hard, again, Rome wasn't built in one day, but at the same time, you have to continue to try and change the culture. And if you're not trying to change the culture, everything is going to continue to be, what it is, and people are going to think that what they're doing is acceptable if you don't speak about it. And trainers have to step up and speak about it. You can't be scared to lose a player because you're telling your truth. To let them know, hey, I put in a lot of time. And sometimes everything isn't, monetary. And I think people think that too. Like everything isn't about money, but it could be putting people in a good situation. Yeah. Or understanding, what's your goals in 5 years, coach? Or I'm sure when your coach is training, your coach is probably telling you, well, hey man, we can maybe do this. Again, take time, and be humble within yourself to understand, hey man, I need to bless the people around me, because again, when it comes to athletics, you're gonna have to hang them shoes up one day. And you gonna have to figure out what you're gonna be doing. But at the same time, if you're advancing the people in your circle around you, you always got good situations and good financial blessings behind that.
100%, man. I took a lot out of that, and it's crazy because I feel like trainers, just same as teachers, are a bit underappreciated and underpaid, especially when you're doing it from the ground level.
Right.
Because one, you don't get that time back.
Right.
And what you should charge versus what you actually charge is night and day.
Right, you're right.
You know what I mean? Night and day. And like I said, you're putting in a lot of time and energy towards it. And if that doesn't occur, where it feels like everybody's just taking.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you got to sometimes look at, man, all right, I know Tobe is giving me this game or teaching me how to perform, but what value can I add to Tobe? Right? And I think that's the mindset that, when you come into any situation, man, what value can I bring to a situation instead of what can I get out of a situation? And I feel like the people that do that, they always get rewarded.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely been around in the industry for a long time, and you train professionals and things as such. And so in doing that, pretty sure you had to kind of deal with agents and things like that. speak about that, and then the relationship that you had with the agent, and is that even needed, that the trainer need to have that relationship? And if so, what role do you play in all of that with the player and agent and stuff like that?
Again, it kind of goes back to having that small circle. All right. Agents most definitely reach out to trainers. You know, they most definitely reach out to trainers because again, it's kind of like an interviewing process. You know, I'm about to put millions of dollars, you know, for your training, through your preparation. So I got to figure out what type of kid I'm dealing with. Just like any CEO, any business, when they tell you to sign that contract, they want to see what type of worker, what type of production they're gonna get out of you. So they most definitely call. The thing about it is that again, trying to change the culture and get the kids and get the families to understand that's how that business process goes. So at the end of the day, I always tell people this, you know, you're the ticket. But I always say this, that agent and that representative wouldn't be talking to you if it wasn't for your production. Then let's take it a step further. Your production probably comes from that trainers or those trainers who have been helping you. So again, it goes hand in hand. Now where it gets cut off, you know, who knows? But again, you know, you and everybody is trying to position themselves to be the one and only voice in these parents and these children's careers when they get to that level. But like I said, at the same time, it's so many moving parts and so many pieces that need to be together. And one person can't really establish or pretty much produce a top level athlete. And what I mean by that is it takes a village. It takes, again, if you're a great strength coach, maybe you don't know speed training. Or if you're a speed coach, maybe you don't know strength and conditioning training. If you're either one of them, maybe you don't know, I don't know how to train a cornerback. I don't do skill work basketball. So again, it's a village of people. So at the same time, you know, when those village of people get cut out, and sometimes it might be through the agency, but these kids got to understand that again, you're the ticket. You have to set the tone and understand, you know, you let your representative know, no, these are my people, and this is who I want to go with. This is who I feel comfortable with. You know, because like I said before, again, if you're a top level athlete, most of your problems are going to be what? Off the playing field. You're going to do what you do on that field. You're going to do what you do on that court. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be off the playing field. So these are the individuals that keep you grounded, to keep you humble, to keep you, you know what I'm saying, you know, organized. These are the people that need to be around you. And that agent or that representative got to understand that. And if you can't understand that, then we just go to the next one. Who understands that?
Yeah, for real, right?
I always say, man, culture dictates commerce.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think sometimes we don't understand that in the sporting world.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we are here because we produce, you know? And so not saying you completely dictate the whole term of everything, but like you got to know your value when you come into there. And I think because a lot of us come from, you know, situations where we didn't have money or you know what I mean? So like when we get around somebody with a suit on and a nice, you know, we think that
they know more,
or that we work for them.
Right.
When they work for us.
And that's where it comes back to changing the mindset, changing the culture. It has to be talked about. It has to be, you know, a situation where kids are understanding what's going on. Transparency has to be there. And again, you might lose some because you're transparent, but at the end of the day, you might gain a whole lot because you're transparent. But I think that transparency has to be said, and it has to be talked about, because again, you know what I'm here for. Now I can be transparent and let you know what I'm here for, and let's kind of see if we can do this together.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to, like, what's your thoughts on just the training industry as a whole? And like, tell me what you like about it and what improvements you think should be done.
What I like about it, again, this is a passion and a love for me. I love helping. I love being, you know, a person that serves. Because like, you know, a good quote that I always say is, you can't be a great leader until you become a great server. So again, I like to serve, you know, but at the same time, what I don't like about it, again, is what we talked about. It should be way more advancements to not only just the player, but again, the skill coach, to the strength coach. It's too much money that's being made in athletics, and it's too many opportunities. And not only opportunities, now these kids are having leverage to be able to leverage their people into situations. Prime example, LeBron James. As much as people don't like it, I love it. You know, at the end of the day, and the reason why I said not so much his basketball skill, but what LeBron has done is he's leveraged his success and say, you know what, I'm gonna make sure my son gets in here. And people don't understand, it might not even be about basketball. That young man might own the Lakers or be a part owner somewhere because now he's part of that NBA fabric. It's about getting in the door. Getting in the door. Can I get in the door? If I get in here, then I can, you know what I'm saying, I can make some moves. But man, well, y'all got me locked out of here. I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So again, those are opportunities. Again, yeah, he might not be the most qualified. Like I'm sure a lot of CEOs do it all the time. Hiring Amy. Amy's not qualified.
We went to Gonzaga, so we didn't see that.
Yeah, so again, you know, you have to figure out, you know, through whatever you're doing, how you can make those opportunities for yourself and your people and your family. Because again, like I said, look, Father Time is undefeated. It's going to be a time where you have to put those shoes, those cleats, whatever up, and then what's going to be then. Yeah, but again, if you have it where you've had your team and your family, your guys that's really serious about their craft, and that you can put them in position. Hey man, listen, let's move forward. You know, do some other things.
Yeah, I mean, because that's just like what you said. Like, just get in the door. Like, he could be the next GM of the Lakers.
Right. It's not all about just the playing of the sport. You know, it's behind the scenes. They get paid pretty good too, and they have more longevity on their contracts.
I know, right?
Amen to that. So, man, talk about. I know we've been kind of skipping into it a little bit, but as a trainer, what is probably the one thing that a player or a parent does not understand that you probably will feel unappreciated about?
That's a good question. I would say again, when you work with young men, young women, and it's that time to get to that next level, again, just the process of now cutting off. What I mean by that is, beforehand, I mean, I knew everything. But like you said before, once these suits and everything else get involved, I don't know nothing. You know, so because again, when you talk about training and you talk about the higher level of trainers, they're really like consultants.
Right.
So again, not only am I just training you, I'm putting you in the best situation possible. That can come from having connections with ADs, with coaches. We sitting down, you looking at the rosters, how you gonna fit in, what's a good. So again, it's a lot put into it. And when you get to that level, you get to that doorstep, like I said, you Varnell Jones me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm in LA, bro. You ain't picking up. So at the end of the day, that's very disheartening. But again, that's something that needs to change, man. That just needs to change through the whole, realm of just, not only this area, but these young men and young women need to understand that. I think what Jaden Daniels, his mom is his agent.
Yeah, amen.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, again, things are hard when it's new. But again, that's what you're on this earth for, man. You're here to make a change, do something different. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got all these white sheep, be the black one. You know what I'm saying? Stand out. You know what I'm saying? Create a wave, as they say, create a wave, create another culture. And I think the time is now to do that. Not yesterday, but the time is now. I think too many people have been discredited. I think a lot of individuals in this area need to be having big time jobs. Be on big time staffs, and continue to, again, do that blueprint and bring the next ones up.
You know what's crazy? I oftentimes go back and forth about this because, I did AAU for a minute. And the segue to get into the NBA, from what I have seen, easier is volunteering for a coaching opportunity, like in college, or doing some type of internship in the NBA and stuff, right? And the guys who are like blood, sweat, and tears on the ground with AAU or training, who's doing all this stuff, who want these opportunities, they always get the short end of the stick because they label them as not experienced because they weren't working in the organization. And I always wonder, when will that change? Because just like now, you know what I mean? Like the game is so different than what it used to be. And the folks that train and the people that are ground roots, they know what needs to change.
Right.
But the people who are just looking at the numbers and the analytics, you know, they don't really know what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
they're structuring things and they're hiring people who don't necessarily have a feel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that is something that I'm seeing, you know, when we're watching real-time basketball, or I'm seeing when we're watching real-time football, and it to me, it needs to change.
Yeah, meaning that you go and hire the statistical guy and not the guy that's been played and coached.
Correct.
And to me, I think we're starting to see that change a little bit.
Yeah.
We just saw Michael Vick get hired.
Yeah.
Great situation.
Uh-huh.
We see Dion.
Uh-huh.
We see Eddie George.
Mhm.
And just not those guys because they're NFL guys, but I mean, it should be a lot of guys. It should be, you know, one of my former players, Navarro Bowman.
Yeah.
Now he's with the Chargers as a coach.
Yep.
So again, you know, those opportunities have to come down from individuals that's already been up there.
Mhm.
Like what we talked about before. It has to be a situation where, you know, you have to take a chance.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take a chance on people. I'm not saying that you can't see or you want to make sure that they're qualified. And I say that from everybody. Make sure you got, you know, your right search, your right, you know, situations. You didn't did this, you didn't did that. Make sure the person's qualified and also educating themselves. But again, it has to be somebody that roll the dice on them, just like somebody rolled the dice on you.
Mm-hmm. So, man, let's talk about ETC. Where do you see ETC in the next 5 years? Or where do you want it to be?
In the next 5 years, I see us continuing training, but as the new wave of NIL and everything else is going, I see us too also trying to come to a consultant point of it.
Okay.
Again, spoke earlier, it's a lot more. We're doing a lot more than just training. And again, you know, behind the scenes, again, trying to make sure kids have opportunities to get in certain schools, trying to reach out to certain coaches, also to sitting down with young men, young women, to see exactly what'll be a good fit for them. So at the same time, I think that's something that needs to be, I guess, looked at, and that's what we're looking at down the line. Also, too, with NIL opportunities, you know, again, with sponsorships, those type of things, because again, you know, I'll go back, you know, a little bit what we talked about earlier with agents. At the same time, you know, again, you know, you continue to have kids come out, but who's putting back? Who's putting back for the next generation?
Yeah.
And also too for players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, that's another way, excuse me, to help trainers out. Who's giving back to some of those, you know, organizations or some of those companies, you know what I'm saying, to make sure, you know, the next kids can come up and can be the next great products out of the area. You know, people do have tax write-offs at the end of the year. It could be from CEOs, or small business owners. You know, again, it's within the community. You know, these are kids that you don't mind saying, "Oh, PG County putting them out." Okay, all right, hit this donation plate. Make sure we can put, you know, a lot more out at the same time. So yeah.
I feel that. I hope we can, you know, y'all can organize that how you want to, man. For sure. So, if you had any advice to give to a young trainer or a person who is aspiring to be a trainer, you know what I mean? Like, what advice would you give them, and what reservations or warning signs would you give them as far as like getting in the industry?
Well, the advice I would give them is to learn everything. Learn as much as you can. When it comes to just general population, when it comes to athletic population, elderly population. Again, I've always been a big component of, I want to know what everybody doing from the CEO to the janitor. And the reason why, because then you can kind of find your purpose. And that's kind of how I was in the, you know, before training, I was in the gym industry and did managerial or did front desk. And I figured out, you know what, I think I might want to do the training. So that's one thing I would always tell people is kind of, you know, get into it, you know, with an open mind, with an open reservation to kind of learn everything about the field and learn, you know, what you feel passionate about and what you will be a good component to, you know, saying giving back to when it comes to that career.
Okay. Like that.
Now, I think the other question was, my bad, was
cool.
what would be the pitfalls? The pitfalls of training, again, is just your structure.
Okay.
Again, the younger you are, the more you can get into the gym, the 5 in the morning, the 4 in the morning. I mean, you're enthusiastic about, you know, getting into the facilities and training these individuals. But what I would say is, as you continue to grow, know what your structure is going to look like. And what I mean by that is, I don't care if it's from a payment system to a monthly system. You don't ever want to get to that point where, you're getting, revenues from individuals, but again, you don't have them on a system basis where you don't know where your next dime will come from because you haven't sat down and structured the business what's going to be good for, yourself and your financial becomings or also your bills at the same time. So you want to make sure that you be self-aware of that and make sure that you have that stuff down packed and not just kind of freelancing on, or also too, like, okay, you charging this individual 25 and you might be charging this person 45. You want to make sure that you figure out the market, figure out your value, and figure out, what it is that you're going to do for your structure to make sure that it can be solid, and also make sure that you hit some of your financial goals, and make sure you take care of your family.
Yeah, I feel that one. 'Cause as a train, I was gonna say, as a trainer, man, people will let you continue to work for free.
Oh yeah. And one thing I can't do is I can't beat free. I can't beat free. I can't beat it.
Yeah.
Another thing that we would like to, pretty much do through ETC is the content. Everything now is social media. You always want to make sure that you keep up with the waves. Also, too, again, online programs. We've learned throughout the years that there's a lot of people that's outside the DMV area that want to train. But at the same time, doing programs, being able to have several streams of income, and also too to put back into our company to make sure again we can help some of these kids, and also to help some of the people that don't financially have the need, the means to train, but we can help them out at the same time. So again, the content is something that we're going to most definitely rev up in the next 5 years, and also to branding, partnerships, all of that. We're open to all of it.
Cool, man. It's funny you said that that online coaching. Yeah. Like, I see you working out not just athletes,
right?
Working out the ladies,
right?
You work, man, and yeah, that is definitely a market.
Oh yeah,
that you should be into.
And I tell people it's a misconception because sometimes when you have a lot of content with a lot of athletes, general clients be nervous to kind of contact you because they thinking again that you're trying to train like athlete,
Yeah.
But what I tell people is and again through ETC, it's a mindset. Not only that we want to train the high level athlete, we want to train the high level CEO.
Right.
We want to train the high level chef. We want to train because it's all a mindset, and again that's where it comes back to we build champions, regardless of what you do in life. You want to have that mindset. I always tell my kids after we break the huddle, what type of mindset you have. They say championship mindset because again it starts in the mind first. So you want to make sure that again, and also too, individuals don't understand that athletes are a season. Athletes aren't the sport is all year round, but general clients are there. Now with again the health crisis, and now with the mental health and the stress. I tell people, man, that you only have one body. I don't care how much money you have, you can't pay somebody to jump into your body and work out.
Right.
Think about that. I don't care how much money you have, you can't pay someone to jump in your body and work out. So again, you only have one, so you got to make sure you take care of it.
I feel that.
So, man, definitely with the training and you wear so many hats, like how you stay motivated? How you stay motivated and continue wanting to keep growing and keep pushing forward?
The naysayers. I mean, like every successful person say, hey, listen, man, the haters. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Because again, I've been in this industry so long that I've seen people come in, come out, come in, come out. So again, you want to be motivated. You want to, again, not only just have the top level kids. I want to take that kid that didn't have no stars. Let's build, to not so much, be about the stars, but let's build and get you a scholarship. Let's build and get you into school. So those are the things that always keep me motivated. Is really, having that underdog mentality. I've always been like that. I've even moving to this area, I started with nothing. I had to build it. So again, I like those opportunities. I like me versus them. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to those situations, a lot of people don't think, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a dog-minded type of individual, and I'm a grinder. So if you put me in those type of situations, hey, let's get it. Let's get it. So that's what keeps me motivated.
Okay. And then with everything, man, how you balance work, family life, how you keep all that
Shut
going?
it off. I can't work today. I got a game to go to, and I had to learn that. I had to learn that because at at certain points in life, you say, oh well, I got to go train this person. But then your kid might have a game. And you might miss. I could say, probably in the last maybe 2 to 3 years, I haven't missed a game.
That's
I
awesome.
haven't missed a game, and at the end of the day, you need money, but at the end of the day, I got to think about, what I'm saying, when it comes to family structure, what has to come first.
Yeah.
And like I said before, being a spiritual person, gotta provide. He'll take care of whatever I need to take care of. But again, I think that you gotta take a break from it. You gotta take a break from it. And I've been in the industry and seen individuals, lose marriages and all types of things because they didn't put so much time into other people and get away from that, or you're not with your kids. It's the same thing as a CEO. You got to balance it, and financially you want to be successful, and you want to be successful with what you do. But sometimes you got to cut it off and say, listen, why are you doing this? I'm doing it for my kids. Okay, so spend some time with your kids, spend some time with your wife, spend some time with your family. So you have to again just cut it off.
I felt that.
Yeah.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah. So, talk about social media and NIL, and the effects of it and the pros and cons.
It's a slippery slope. I know a lot of people are a little disgruntled from it, and then I know a lot of people are excited about it. Again, you gotta see how it's going to be an advantage to you.
Mm-hmm.
At that point when it comes to the athlete, when it comes to the family. But what I do love about it is now these kids are able to, and which is so crazy, if they look at it in the right way, in the business way, now you're able to provide for your family, move your family into a better situation. But again, you still have to be smart about that. And that's what I mean by that now when it comes to the NIL, now you got to pay your taxes. Now you got to have a team of individuals that's going to help you understand, the money that you have, what's the longevity of it. You have some people that, they jump into the portal, they get big NIL contracts. It might be a situation where, they might not think they might make the league. Now it could be a situation where, hey, if I get with a financial advisor, if I get with some solid people, I can flip that money. Maybe I don't want to go to the NFL. Maybe I don't want to go to the NBA. Maybe I'm good on it. You know what I'm saying? So those are the opportunities that I love about it. The cons about not liking it is sometimes the hunger. Sometimes the hunger. I think sometimes kids kind of forget sometimes why they playing the sport.
Yeah.
Why they playing the sport? During our time and and then you guys' time, your age group, it was for the love of it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you take the love away and it becomes business, then I think sometimes that gives I think a lot of times that's where the mental health comes into it, because you're not doing it for the love of the game and to learn the game. You're doing it because you want to the gratification behind it, for the success behind it. But guess what? Sometimes the gratification and the success don't come.
Yeah.
So then you have to deal with those problems. So that's the pressure that is kind of put on some of these young men and young women. But again, you have to figure out the balance. You got to go back, like I said, with those principles of teaching these kids early about failure, about adversity, because it's gonna come knocking on that door. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, prepare for it. So again, those are some of the things that I think with the pros and the cons with it, it kind of affects the common athlete when it comes to this generation.
All right, cool, man, cool. So, man, we got a game we play towards the end, man.
Okay.
It's called Either Or. We got our good ginger shots, man. You eat ginger?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's either I eat ginger all the time. So
Not me.
I'm good.
if you pick both, you gotta take a ginger, and we're gonna take it with you.
Okay.
We're gonna take it with you.
You gonna leave healthy though, right?
There you go. That's how I see it.
You gonna leave healthy. Okay.
All right. Here we go. Pat Peterson or Richard Sherman?
Pat Peterson or Richard Sherman? Richard Sherman.
Okay. Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu,
Okay.
or Buda Baker?
Most definitely Buddha Badger. Dog.
Ooh, okay.
Dog.
All right, I got. You know what? I ain't even put him on this one. Fred Warner or Patrick Willis?
I like Pat.
Okay.
I gotta go with Pat. I
He's
gotta
a
go with Pat.
49er fan.
I gotta go with Pat.
You know what's crazy? All right, we gonna switch it up. Navarro or Pat Willis?
Oh man, Navarro. Come on, baby. That's how we go with that.
All right. Anenas Williams or Ty Law?
Ty Law.
Okay.
Yeah, Ty Law.
Okay.
Ty Law.
All right. Steve Young or Joe Montana?
Young.
Okay.
Young.
All right.
Young.
LT or Marshall Faulk?
LT.
And it's easy. All right. Here we go. Revis or T.O.? I'm going to
Revis or
matchup.
T.O.?
Yeah, we going to matchup. Who winning that matchup?
I think Revis might get him. on that island. I think Revis might get him.
Okay, too physical.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, yeah. I like Revis.
All right. Charles Woodson or Randy Moss?
Oh, Randy.
Oh,
Randy.
Okay.
And blessings to Randy, too. Blessings to Randy.
Blessings to Randy.
Sure. All right. Luke Kuechly or Brian Urlacher?
Urlacher. You know they're picking up dogs. At some point in time, you gotta tell it that dog kicks in.
Yeah. You know it's crazy. Urlacher, I don't know if you remember this. He came down to Gonzaga when we was in high school.
Oh, for real?
And played in a basketball game.
He played basketball?
I don't know. They were doing some type of event.
Okay.
And so he was playing, and this is when I started to understand that football players have a different level of explosion than basketball players.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we thin and we can jump, but like you remember this?
No.
Okay, so he was there, and I want to say Troy Vincent was there, and I'm telling you, Urlacher, you know, he the big body, especially like you know them linebackers back then was big, wide.
Yeah.
And he was catching the ball, no drop step, and then just going up and boom, you know. And he was like what 6'1", 6'2", maybe that, and I was just like, wow.
And that's and when you talk about training, that's where it comes to that triple explosion.
Yes.
When it comes to a lot of power cleans, basketball players don't do too much of it because again they so tall. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, as far as getting down. But again, it's a like I said, it's a different type of training. Different type of training.
No, that's what I remember in college. Power clean.
Oh, that's all
that
day.
thing had me jumping out the gym. Power cleans in the gym with. I was like, what?
Got your traps on. Like,
We used to call him the gold bird. I got something to say off the camera. Right? We used to use the gold bird. All right. Von Miller or Terrell Suggs?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go Von.
You gonna go Von?
I'm gonna go Von. I think a little bit more mobile than Big T Suggs. I'm gonna go Von.
Yeah, he could use that bend.
Yeah, he can get that bend.
Yeah, that bend for sure. All right. Myles Garrett or TJ Watt?
Ooh, Watt.
Bad man.
Technique. You mean, you know, you was coached by one of the best D-line coaches in the country.
Yeah.
Technique.
Okay. All right, cool. So, Mike Vick or Lamar Jackson?
Vic.
Vic.
757. Gotta go with my man Vic.
All right.
He started it. Well, Randy Cunningham, but he was there.
Last one. Dion versus Jerry. Who winning that matchup?
I'm gonna go Dion.
You gonna go Dion?
I'm gonna go Dion.
All right, cool. Hey man, you got through this. He is so excited. Actually, I got a few more questions.
Okay.
Confidence or skill?
Confidence.
Okay. Playing or training?
Skill training basketball?
No, when you used to play.
Oh, playing or training?
Yeah.
Training, yeah.
Oh, so all right, so this is the end.
Okay.
So we always give the floor to the guests. You You can talk to the audience to let them know. You gave a lot of gems and talk. You gave a lot of information. But if you're anybody who want to be an aspiring trainer, you want to talk to the parents about training, anything that you want to say, we give you the floor to talk to the audience.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you for just being on this platform and having these young men feel like that I'm worthy of being on this platform. But what I want to say is to the parents, to the kids coming up in this new time and age is just make sure that you don't mishandle people in your life. Make sure that you are a blessing to them as they are a blessing to you. Make sure that you do everything in your will and your power to make sure that you look out for your people. Make sure you look out for your circle. Because at the end of the day, it's about moving forth and pushing the needle. And also too, you have to understand that you're here for a reason and be that reason to change. Change something. I don't care how small it is, how big it is, but make sure that you change and make sure that you be an example of that change before you leave this earth.
Man, I love that, man. Definitely thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate you, dog.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
y'all, man. Nice meeting you too, fam. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, share, and all that good old stuff.
And make sure you stay game related.
Cool, man. We done.
Cool.
Nah, man. Thank you, man.
No, thank
Appreciate
y'all,
it,
man. Thank y'all.